So here we go at week 15, pick six. Um, we're on the eve of week 16, which is the last 3 weeks before the playoffs. The playoffs are supposed to start, if I'm correct, January 8th. Tomorrow we got the Chargers and Broncos to start off the interesting week, which we're going to have games on Thursday, Saturday, Christmas, Monday, Christmas Day, blah, blah, blah. But um, week 15 was intriguing. Now, am I going to run down 6 games this week? No, I'm not. But I'm going to run down some games and the intriguing ones because there's a lot of significance to these ones. It's not just playoff implications, but just the overall situation. Um, the first one I'm gonna focus on was the Thursday night game last Thursday, which was on the 12th of December, which was the Rams and the 49ers. 12-6, no touchdowns, a bunch of field goals. But there was a lot of things that I saw in that game. Of course, another division game. I keep preaching it all the time. Division games are always going to be like this. Whether the team is at this point in time I don't know, 1-13 or 1-14 or whatever the case may be, or the team is, 8-5 going into the game, or 7-6, whatever the case may be. But this game was just defensively just really set. We all know about the Devontae Williams situation, whatever. To be honest with you, my take on that is very simple. He didn't want to play, fine, no problem. He handled it wrong, yes, he did. He's been suspended. Let's move on. That's all you could do. Not everybody's going to ride with you. And when you see things like that, Coach Shanahan and the rest of the 49ers organization decide to make a decision that is best for the team. So we all move on, and they're all moving on to week 15. Sorry, they're moving on to week 16. So that's my take. That was my first game that I'm gonna focus on. The next one I'm gonna focus on, and I think this one is obviously a good one, was the Steelers and Eagles. There's been a lot of talk with, everybody's kind of like, oh, the Steelers this, the Steelers that, very conventional style football. So what? It wins games. They have one of the best coaches of our era who people keep doubting. 18 years in, he came from the Minnesota Vikings organization and went straight to this organization and has done a wonderful job. 2 Super Bowl appearances, 1 Super Bowl. Coach Tomlin, keep up the good work. I don't know why the haters are going to hate, but they will. It's okay. Russell had a typical game, 14 for 22, 128, 1 touchdown, no interceptions, sacked twice, whatever. Jalen Hurts threw 32 times, 292 touchdowns, sacked 3 times. The Eagles won 27-13. But I think, man, oh man, the Eagles are a very interesting team. It's a disaster right now. It reminds me of the Mega Powers, Randy Savage and Hulk Hogan. As much as you could see the jealousy, you could see the envy, you could see the hate, these guys were just dominating when they were together as a tag team. They were dominating, whether it was the Twin Towers or Survivor Series match or a SummerSlam match that they had. Every time the Mega Powers were together, there was something, but yet they won. And this reminds me are they as great as the Mega Powers, the Eagles? No, but that was the Mega Powers. And anybody that watched WWF, which is now WWE back then, knows exactly what I'm talking about. And for some reason, you saw the altercation with Nick Sirianni and one of the coaches and all that type of stuff. Jalen Hurts being told, he's not really a quarterback. He's just a runner, after on the heels of the A.J. Brown, whatever's, he's not getting the ball. They decide to go to a run this first, whatever. The Eagles are just in a mess. A.J. Brown had 8 receptions for 110 yards, 1 touchdown. Devontae Smith had 11 receptions for 109, one touchdown. I mean, it's a mess right now. But then on the other side, the Eagles, who are 10-4, leading the division, they're just quietly playing football. And those type of teams always find ways to win. You don't need to be the guy. You just need to be part of the team. The NFL is not a one-player team. It is a team effort. And no matter what, Eagles lost this game, big deal. They got a big game against the Ravens coming up, but they'll be fine. They'll be fine. And Russell's playing smart football. You know, he's got a lot of guys that are supporting him on that team, so he'll be fine. But yeah, the next order of business, I'm going to go to this one here because I got to. The Bills and the Lions, like this was just classic Josh Allen again and Jared Goff too. Like, give these guys credit, man. We got to stop putting these guys under the rug. We can't do that. We got to stop that. Jared Goff, the game started off slow for him. Wow. I watched the highlights, but I watched the red zone for this. And yeah. The man threw 59 times. I repeat, he threw 59 times. 59 times for 494 yards, 5 touchdowns. I mean, you got to look at it like, what's happening here? Are you insane? Like, it was just a shootout. And this is the Bills' second straight week having a shootout. They had one with the Rams the previous week. Josh Allen threw 34 times, 362, 2 touchdowns, and was never sacked. I repeat, he was never sacked. And he had 2 rushing touchdowns, 68 yards. Now, I remember they were trying to keep Josh from running as much. But with the way this offense is going, he could run and things are fine because James Cook ran for 105, 14 carries and had 2 touchdowns. So, I mean, is it really a bad thing? Then the receiver situation, I mean, let's just look at it. Buffalo, do they miss Diggs? I don't think they miss Diggs. I think that the Bills understand that this is how they're going to have to win. You know, through salary cap, aka cap casualties, injuries, releasing guys last year. They had a better roster last year on paper. No doubt about it, but this is a better team. There's a difference between a better roster and a better team. Better teams win championships. Rosters will always look good in Madden. So let me repeat that for you guys. Better rosters are great for Madden. Better teams win Super Bowls, and this is a better Bills team. The defense, we know the secondary is a little shot right now because I think they've given up 80-something yards the last 2 games, but it's all good. Now on the Detroit end, I mean, they're going to do what they need to do, but I know that they had 2 more injuries. Montgomery got hurt. Apparently, he's out for the year. McNeil got hurt. He's out for the year. Detroit keeps getting hit with the injury bug, and it's just catching up with them to the point where, people are saying, maybe can they win? I will say this. This is where you have to define yourself as a championship team because everybody's hurt in the NFL. Everybody's got knickknacks. This is week 15. There's 3 weeks left before the playoffs in January. Everybody has some type of knickknack, soreness, whatever it may be, but everybody's hurt, everybody's sore. It's okay. It's just whatever. The Chargers and Bucks are my next one. And I'll say this, the reason why I'm picking this one, because Baker Mayfield, as I keep saying, I always mention him every so often in Pick 6. And I'm going to say it again. Baker Mayfield is just absolutely one of a kind. He's tough as nails. I don't know where they find a guy like him. He just continues to fight. This guy will throw 2 interceptions and then end up throwing 3 touchdowns in the end. He just finds a way. 4 touchdowns, 1 pick, classic Baker, 288, 22 for 27. And, he just found his way. Mike Evans was on a tear, classic Mike Evans. 9 receptions, 159, 2 touchdowns. My guy, Bucky Irving, who I have in fantasy, 15 carries, 117. This guy's the starter now. I don't think we need to talk about who's a starting running back in Tampa anymore. I think Bucky Irving has solidified his position. With the Chargers, by the way, Buccaneers beat them 40-17. Justin Herbert, it doesn't look like Justin Herbert. Now, everybody's trying to talk about the Harbaugh thing, but Justin Herbert has been pedestrian this year since losing Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. Like, he looks very pedestrian-like. And let's see how long this lasts. Now, if this is just a season thing, fine. Going into next season, he comes back to being to Justin Herbert throwing 365, 4 touchdowns, blah, blah, blah. But if this continues, do the Chargers actually maybe looking at another quarterback? Let's just look at the reality here, because right now they're very pedestrian-like with Justin Herbert. They're kind of scratching to win games. Just look at the numbers. If you don't believe me, just look at the numbers, look at the stats. They're scratching to win games. They're 8-6. They're not going to win that division. We already know the Chiefs are going to win that division. So I don't know. But let me go to the next game here, guys. And then I'm going to go to the final one for the pick 6. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to say about the Chargers. They're not consistent at all. I just don't see anything happening with them. But the next game I'm going to go to is, I'm going to go to this one. Yeah, I'm going to go to Packers and Seahawks. I don't know what to say about Jordan Love, and I don't know what to say about Geno Smith. Now, if I say that Jordan Love is a younger version of Geno Smith, you might say I'm crazy, but if you start really watching these two guys, you kind of see some similarities. Like, there's some games you're like, wow. And then there's some games you're like, oh no, oh God. Like, they give you a lot of oh God moments. Like Jordan Love, 27 attempts, 20 completions for 229, 2 touchdowns. Geno got hurt before he threw that. Well, he threw a pick. He was 15 for 19, 149 with a pick. Like, I don't know. I just don't see anything spectacular about this. But yet, what I find is very interesting, most of these sports people, these analysts, have the Packers ahead of the Vikings in their rankings. I just don't understand what type of drugs they're on. I'm sorry, but think about it. You know? So you guys are all saying, most of you guys are saying that the Packers are a better team than the Vikings overall. Like, I don't get it. Like, I don't get it. Like, is that possible? Better than the Ravens? Whatever. Anyways, let me stop going on with that, because I'm going to go down to the final one. Now, why am I going down to this particular game? Because I have my reasons. And as I go through this, you're going to understand why I'm going through this. The final game of the day is going to be Monday night. And no, not the Vikings and Bears. I'm going to go to the Falcons and Raiders, because then I'm going to segue to what has happened in the last 24 hours. So, Kirk Cousins, in another start, his 5th start in many games with no touchdowns. Actually, he threw one. Kirk Cousins was 11 for 17, 112, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, sacked 3 times. Desmond Ridder had his 23 for 39, 208, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. The Raiders are done, and from how I see things, Antonio Pierce is going to get released. He's going to be fired. I like him. I'm an Antonio Pierce guy, but I think it's over for him, 100%. But let's go on the Atlanta side for this whole situation. And I think this situation kind of gets down to where I'm going to go with this. Excuse me, guys. My apologies for that. Kirk Cousins. So in the last 5 games, Kirk Cousins has thrown for 3,508 yards, 3,508, 18 touchdowns, 16 interceptions, has fumbled the ball 12 times. Okay? Let me repeat that again. Sorry, folks. That's his stats for the season. So far, those are his stats. 3,508, 3,508 yards, 18 touchdowns, 16 interceptions, and 12 fumbles. So let me clear that up. In the last 5 games, 1 touchdown, 9 interceptions. Classic Kurt. The Falcons announced that Michael Pitts is going to be the starter going forward. Now, I had a tweet on the 25th of April saying that his days were numbered. And I'm not here to criticize Kirk Cousins, the man. I'm talking about Kirk Cousins, the football player. So let's stop right there, because I know some people are going to be like, oh, he's criticizing Kirk. No, I'm not. Kirk Cousins, the man. A lot of people like Kirk Cousins, and I like Kirk Cousins. I really do. I like him as a person. There's some things that he's said in interviews and he's done outside of the game, or just a part of the game, that I really respect, and I appreciate what he's done. But as an NFL quarterback, I've always looked at him as a C+ quarterback. He can get you to the position that you need to, but he can't push that button to get you through that door. He can't open that knob. I've been saying that. I didn't like the contracts he signed with Minnesota. I was totally against it. There's a lot of friends, or I could say a couple of real close friends, that could vouch for me on that. I did not like that contract signing at all. I was like, that's way too much money for a guy that's a C+ quarterback. $40 million? No, that's not what you do. But again, they did what they did. Come to free agency, apparently, allegedly, Minnesota offered him a 3-year deal. He didn't like the deal. 2 years with an option. He decided to go to Atlanta. And Atlanta ended up giving him a 4-year deal worth $180, apparently. $90 million guaranteed, if I'm correct. So, I was like, okay, fine. I was not in any way, form, or fashion upset about that. I was like, good riddance. Thank you very much. You got us to where we need to go. We need somebody else. But so right now, this is the situation with the Kirk Cousins situation, period. Now, this is through Adam Schefter. Now, if the Falcons were to cut Kirk Cousins at the beginning of the league year, because the league year resets sometime in March or something like that, they would be on the hook for $65 million in dead money. Yikes. Now, if they were to trade him, they would be only on the hook for 37.5. Now, I remember when I watched the draft. I watched when they drafted Michael Penix. I watched the draft and I was like, wow. And it's funny because I was looking at Michael Penix's profile and I'm like, oh yeah, we have something in common. Our birthdays are on the exact same day. Beautiful. So he's already great. Just Sorry, folks, I'm not trying to toot my own horn. But, people are like, what the hell are they doing? I said, I know what they're doing. They realized they made a mistake. They rushed to sign Kirk Cousins. They could have waited. Given him something cheaper. The market for Kirk Cousins wasn't as big as people thought it was. Atlanta made it big. Atlanta went out there, rushed himself, signed him. And I remember in the draft watching them talk to Arthur Blank in the video room. And I'm like, tell the man you're effed up. Just tell him you're effed up and let's move on. And I've been saying it. Kirk Cousins is just a temporary fix. You can't be giving him 4 years. Atlanta fans understood that too. There was a lot of Atlanta fans that actually had common sense and said, yo, this is not going to work. So at the end of the day, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say it respectfully. Kirk Cousins is a good person. He's a good guy. I'm not here to degrade him at all. We're not going to do that. But what I say as a quarterback, he's a C plus quarterback, and he's not going to win you anything. There are some people that I know that have praised him. Come on, give him a chance. No. I'm not giving him as an NFL quarterback. No. Your job is to win championships. Don't give me division titles or NFC or AFC championships. As a football fan, I want a Super Bowl. And I didn't feel that he was the guy to do that. So that's all I'm saying. Now, with that being said, let me just go on a quick topic here. Not NFL, but college. But congratulations to Travis Hunter on his Heisman Trophy winning thing there. But a lot of people on social media have been getting very personal or posting their blogs or doing videos about him and his girlfriend. Ladies and gentlemen, that's their personal business. Most of us as adults, most of us have gone through a situation where we're like, ugh. We look back at it, we're like, ugh, I wish I didn't. We have all had that situation, most of us. We don't regret it, but we're like, ugh. Let the man live his life and do what he wants. We got too many TV people and people on social media making their comments. Go fix yourself. Go do your stuff, man. Don't be worrying about him. He's a kid. He's about to be a top 2 pick in the NFL draft. That's his choice. We be praising the wrong people. We be voting in the wrong people to run our countries and run our cities. But we don't talk about them. Why are we worried about Travis Hunter and his girlfriend? We got to mind our own business, folks, and live our own lives. And on that note, that's a wrap. That's week 15 in the books. Ladies and gentlemen, have yourselves a great morning, great afternoon, great night, wherever you are. Respect, peace.